When we think about legends of Sabi Sands, we all have some names in our heads. Mapohos, Matimbas, Majingalanis, Birmingham Boys, and so on. Of course, they are all legends and always will be. But we forget something. A great coalition who made this possible. Without the West Street males, lion dynamics wouldn't have become so famous for the most of us. They are known as the fathers of the Mapohos. Best known as brothers in blood, the lions of the Sabi Sand, the Mapoho Lion Coalition was a notorious band of brothers that went on a vicious quest to dominate and rule the Sabi Sands region, in South Africa's Kruger National Park. Have you ever wondered about the pride of lions named the Mapoho Coalition came from? It was the airfield or Sparta Pride. It all started back in 1992 when they removed the fence that separated Kruger and Sabi Sands. Shortly after the fence went down, a coalition of 5 male lions made the journey west to set up a territory of their own. So who were these guys? They were 5 males known as Broken Nose, Mac Sr., Scar Eyebrow, Blondie, and Scar Nose. Born in probably 1990 at Kruger National Park. These were the 5 West Street males and were first seen by rangers lying around the dead bodies of the 2 previously dominant males, who they had obviously killed during the night. Throughout the day they got up and attacked the carcasses and also fed off them. As dusk broke, all 5 males stood up and declared their dominance by roaring into the night. And from that very moment, the reign of the West Street males had began, and in their time they held many prides and sired a lot of cubs, including many powerful male lions. The 5 Mapoho brothers of the Sparta or Airfield Pride, the big older male Makhulu was also thought to be a son from a different pride. The 6 roller coaster males from the Castleton or Zymungwe Pride and many more are West Street male sons. The West Street males were aggressive lions who showed no mercy to any rivals and were very skilled hunter and killers of very large prey. It was these lions and the brave lionesses of the Sparta or Airfield Pride that gave us the world-famous Mapoho Coalition, Makhulu, the half-brother, Pretty Boy, Rasta, Dreadlocks, Kinky Tail, and Mr. T. Like other males, they became nomadic with 3 to 4 years and entered Sabi Sands on the look for their kingdom. They were big and strong lions and were ready to become kings. So they took pride, and after 2-3 years in Sabi Sands, they weren't just a coalition of Sabi Sands. They were the dominant force. No other coalition could step in their way. They sired the Split Rock males. In 1996, they sired the roller coaster males. In 1998, they were 8 years, as we all know, males in their total prime. They wanted more and went for the famous Sparta Pride. Without this move, the Mapohos were never been here. The Sparta Pride was controlled by 2 huge and strong males called Black Mane and Golden Mane. The night of decision arrived. West Street against Black and Golden Mane. The next morning, Black Mane and Golden Mane were found dead. Usually it's like with Mr. T and Kinky Tail. One lion can escape because the other coalition is mostly attacking the dominant one of them. Not the West Street males, they killed them both and became dominant about the Sparta Pride. The next 2 years were quiet. In 2000 they were 10 years old and stopped conquering. They were happy with Sparta Pride and sired many cubs. In these days a young lion, later called Makhulu, entered them. Not welcomed by the Sparta Pride females, but these aggressive boys accepted him. They knew who he was, their son. One day probably the biggest leader of all times in Sabi Sands. After the time, Spartas accepted young Makhulu and gave in 2001 and 2002 birth to several litters. Later the cubs will be called Rasta, Dreadlocks, Pretty Boy, Kinky Tail, and Mr. T. Peaceful days were over. Between 2000 and 2001, they clashed with other coalitions to defend their territory and their legacy. Through this they lost 2 members, Scar Nose and Scar Eyebrow died because they defended their kingdom. But they did it and managed to keep their pride. Down to 3, plus Little Mapogo, they had a new opponent. The 6 roller coaster males, their own sons, were ready to fight for their own kingdom. They mated with the girls from Sparta Pride. Until today there are rumors, and no one knows if it's true, Mr. T and Kinky Tail are sons of the roller coaster males. West Street males took on their sons and managed to chase the roller coasters away. Already at that time Mapogo showed his character and was a big point they could held the Sparta Pride. 2003 Blondie passed away. But meanwhile Mapogo was nearly full grown and an active member of this coalition. Without him this coalition wouldn't have survived that long. In 2004 at the age of 14, last 2 members took their last breath. Mapogo took his young brothers and went off. Fed them, learned them, but stayed low on profile. He was a father, a brother, and a teacher. And one day, out of the grass, there came a coalition of 6. They changed the dynamics of Sabi sands forever, and we call them the Mapogos. Everything wouldn't have happened without the West Street males. One of the biggest coalitions of Sabi sands. The successful, powerful bloodline of the West Street male lions still roams in South Africa today.